Welcome to Relay.
Oh, hello. Oh, it is late and I am tired.
It's 9 p.m., David.
9 p.m. is so late nowadays. Like, so late. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I hope this week has been good to you. I'm gonna start the intro in just a moment. I just want to give fair notice that the intro is very sweary, and if you don't want to hear me be sweary, then don't listen to the intro. So I believe I've given fair warning. Hi.
Hi.
It's been a shitty week. My miter saw broke, which sucks because I was in the middle of a whole bunch of renovations, and I have no more miter saw, which is annoying. My freezer broke, which sucked.
Did your miter saw break your freezer?
It did not. It did not break the freezer. They just both happened on like the same day, and it was pissy. My grandmother died. We are still smack in the middle of a global pandemic. And anti-Asian hate crimes have risen 1,900% since the beginning of this entire colossal clusterfuck. So really, the problems that I'm having this week are not that big of a fucking deal. But it really has taken me sort of out of the mood for a nice, cutesy, random, ridiculous intro and into this. If you think that a random Asian on the street was responsible for COVID, you're a fuck. If you think that Asians, period, are responsible for COVID, you're a fuck. If you think really anything racist about anyone, you're a fuck. If you say, hey, person on the internet, your politics don't belong in video games or in this Twitch stream about video games, you're not just a fuck, you're also a dumb fuck, because politics has been in video games since as long as video games have existed, and it belongs there. Guess what? Politics belongs everywhere. If you say that, oh, damn those video game companies for virtue signaling by making statements about racist shit going, you're a fuck. Don't be a racist fuck. Look at Nakara. Nakara is not a fuck. He's a very, very pleasant Canadian man that wrestles moose in his spare time, and he's never lost. And if you actually
Isn't that racist against moose, though?
It's not, because you're not fighting them to hurt them. You're wrestling them. Wrestling is a competitive sport with rules, and you are wrestling the moose.
Fair enough.
In your spare time. You're not, attacking them on the street and blindsiding them because you are a racist fuck. You're wrestling them for fun and entertainment, and you've never lost. And Google a moose someday to look at how big a moose is. It's something to say that someone can wrestle moose and not lose. Mm-hmm. Look at me. I'm not okay. I'm sort of a little bit of a fuck, but I'm not a racist fuck. Don't be a racist. Don't be a fuck. Welcome to the Relay Station.
Hi, everybody. You need to continue to distract them while I read all these things that Jake has told me to read.
Okay. Anyway, that's my intro. I'm pissed off that there are still racist fucks, and I don't care if we lose viewers or whatever. I'm gonna call it out as often as I can, because racism's bad and we should call it out all the fucking time.
Yep.
I want more video games with black protagonists. I want more video games with Asian protagonists. I want more video games with female protagonists. I want more video games that are inclusive, and I want more that are made by inclusive teams, because guess what? That's how you get good stories. You know what stories like me is good at? Very bland, like European Knight Castle Dragon. We've seen it for the last 100 years. Let's get some new ideas, some new stories. There's like whole cultures of folklore and history and storytelling that have not been used at all in video games or literature or like anything. And why not? Why don't we have more representation? It's just it literally boggles my mind, and I'm really disappointed in the state of the world and the anger that everyone has towards people that aren't them, which man, like, I don't get it, because I hate me. I think people that aren't me are so much better, because I'm, as I said before, a fuck. Anyway, at this point, I'm just rambling because it's been a hell of a week, and I'm going to stop my rambling, and we're going to talk about Star Citizen. So hello to everyone that survived my rant about, Stutch. Welcome to the relay station. How are you all doing? I hope everyone's week has been a little better than mine. I just want to say that.
My week has been better than yours, but that's only because your week was really, really bad. Because mine wasn't very good either, but it doesn't quite hold a candle to your week.
Jake, if you just joined, you missed my rant where I don't know. I just ranted about.
He got angry.
I got angry.
In David fashion.
I got angry and swore a whole bunch. Yeah.
Because people are fucks. Generally.
I don't want people to be racist fucks, and yeah, that's about it. You missed the intro. Yeah.
So, first thing we should probably talk about is it was sort of revealed this week. CIG still hasn't officially said anything about this, as far as I'm aware. Which is
weird. I'm gonna cut right in front of this and say it's kind of weird. You know?
It's definitely weird. We had a one-sided announcement from Fire Sprite. Fire Sprite Studios, which is a game developer in Liverpool in the UK. They have about 200 employees. They announced that they are partnered with Cloud Imperium Games to develop Theaters of War, or help develop Theaters of War, and have been since early 2019, so a little over 2 years now. But yeah, we didn't have a corresponding announcement from CIG in any form or fashion, and I think that is a little strange.
I think that's strange. Yeah. So, but I want to jump right into that, because Darge, you bring up my key concern. Yeah, I also hope that CIG learned from the days of Ilphonic. I think they did. I have to believe that CIG have learned from the days of Ilphonic. I do believe that CIG are taking a more hands-on role this time. Like, they're more involved in it, and they're checking in more often. And to be fair, the whole Ilphonic thing happened. How many years ago was that? Like 5. Anyway,
long time
long
ago.
time ago, CIG didn't have the tool maturity that they do now, right?
No.
All of CIG's processes are standardized now. Things are a lot more fully fledged, I want to say, and a lot which honestly makes it easier for third-party companies to get involved. That said, there is still a worry, and to me, this means that, like, because we now know that it's not CIG developed internal, it's being developed by the name has disappeared from my head. Firesprite. Anyway, my thought on this is that,
to be clear, it's not being entirely developed by Firesprite. It's
No.
just mostly them with sounds like, I don't know, half a dozen or a dozen people on CIG's end.
yeah. It's like, this is all we've seen is still pretty much the stuff we saw at CitizenCon 2 years ago.
I actually have a big question here. How the hell did you know that, Darge?
Because they started working in 2019, and then we saw it in late 2019. Right? We saw Theaters of War for the first time in late 2019.
Yeah. We saw it at the end of 2019.
Yep. And which,
Yeah.
I mean, it means that they've been working on it the whole time. It's interesting that it took 2 years to tell us this. Whatever. My concern now is, because of the history with Ilphonic, I don't think that CIG have the chance here to release it and have it be not excellent. I think that if they release it and it is, again, they need to take their time. But if it's released and it's bad,
oh yeah, it's gonna be awful. It kind of doesn't matter what CIG releases first. The first thing they release in any kind of a finished format will be judged on how well the company can make games. So, yeah. It's just because they've been operating for as long as they have without releasing anything. It's just sort of the way it goes. But I mean, they don't really have a lot of, as we've always said, they don't really have a lot of pressure to release. So the hope is that they won't before they have to.
So one of the things here that I think we need to take into, or to think about, is if, like, Theaters of War, we were originally told it was going to be like one game mode, really tiny, and it would be expanded over time.
Well, wait, what do you mean?
Like it was
Theaters of War is a game.
Sorry, one map. Like, it was going to be one map, and they were going to expand it over time.
Yep.
Right. We'll see what.
Which it totally can still be. That's what Apex Legends did.
Yeah, and it could still be. The question is, are we going to get a more filled out experience? Because, and I don't know what CIG are going to do with this, to be honest, but it seems like
What do you mean by filled out experience?
It seems like a really good opportunity for CIG to, and I don't know how to market it or anything, but develop it to the point that this is a game. A standalone game, right? That can
it should be doable. Especially, it depends on how much of Firesprite is actually on this project. That's something we're not really sure of. Firesprite is a fairly large studio. They got 200 people.
Yeah.
They, as far as I can see, they don't have any other outstanding projects at the moment. I mean, that are publicly visible. They released a game last year.
10. What's that for, Jake?
Yeah.
10 people at Firesprite that are involved?
Okay, so not very
large. Okay.
So what is that? Basically 10 people on each side then?
Anyway, what I'm saying, I really hope that CIG do with this is that they release it almost as a free to play, like module of Star Citizen that would get people interested. If they can make it a tight, free to play experience that you're able to try out the first person, the flying, everything.
I think that's what they should do. They should just do to a lesser degree, because it doesn't need to be as fleshed out, but do the Apex Legends thing. Have it be free to play. You can show off your you can show off your game, and you can monetize it in a small way through just a few cosmetics.
But it would also, like, a lot of people are holding off on Star Citizen because it's like there's nothing
Not
released
done.
yet, right? It's not done.
Yeah.
There's nothing released. If CIG can show that they can put together and release a tight, well-made, good playing, engaging Theaters of War, that might drive more people to pick up the game, right? And if they release it as free,
Absolutely.
I think I hope that's what they do, because I think that would drive a lot more interest to the project personally.
I agree, and another very good point. They could release it on consoles as well. Firesprite has a metric ton of experience developing for PlayStation, and they also have released on Xbox as well. So you could have an intro experience into Star Citizen on the consoles as well.
And I'm not going to look too far into the future or anything, but hey, if Firesprites has this much experience working with consoles, well, I mean, we've said for years Squadron 42's got to go to console eventually.
Yep, it probably will.
If they've got the experience working with the tools, if they've got the experience working with the engine, why not have them work on porting Squadron 42 over to the consoles? Done.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure PS5 and the Xbox Series X can handle Squadron. Not Star Citizen, but just Squadron 42. Well, especially once it's done and optimized and polished and everything.
And who knows?
Now,
you know what? It is entirely possible that when Star Citizen is done and out and optimized and polished and done, who's to say it can't possibly come to a console?
well, the CPU power required for Star Citizen is a little problematic.
It is now. What if it go depending on optimization? Who knows?
Maybe it'll be the next consoles by that point.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm not really sure about that. One thing I could see is possible, since it's coming along slowly but surely. I mean, there is a point coming in the future when almost anything can be run on anything because of cloud gaming.
Hey, if you can run the new Doom on a Switch, you can run Star Citizen on a console. You can run Star Citizen on a Switch, realistically.
Very possibly, yeah.
Why not?
Now, so to answer a question that Griffin had before, and Jake already answered it, but I figured in case anybody wasn't watching chat, I would want to make this clear. There is a person named Chris Roberts working at Firesprite who is their technical director. This is not Chris Roberts from Star Citizen fame. These are different people, both longtime game developers, but they are not the same person. So that clarifies that a little bit. It totally psyched me out the first time I saw that. Now, I have a couple questions for you, David.
Okay.
Do you think this was the right direction to go for developing Theaters of War?
I don't know. And I'm not comfortable answering that yet. I still don't think we've seen enough of Theaters of War to know how it's going. My main concern with that is that Theaters of War isn't really a standalone thing because all of the feedback and all of the tuning and all of the everything that goes into Theaters of War has to bleed back into both Star Citizen and Squadron 42 because they need the balance that comes from Theaters of War. So as long as that flow of information and that flow of balancing is not impeded at all by it being another
I would 100% expect that this is Firesprite employees working using CIG tools and
Yeah.
software. I don't think that they are really. I think the entire thing is probably in CIG's environment.
It's
I mean?
more like
Development environment.
as long as it's people at CIG that are doing the balancedness, like that are making the decisions that push the project forward. Like Firesprite can be working on making it happen, but as long as it's CIG that are still pushing the decisions forward, then I'm less worried about it. I want like it's it's what Jake says. It's Sean Tracy's directing the team, so I'm not concerned.
Well,
it's still
and there's
CIG
nobody better.
led. Yeah.
Nobody better to. I assumed he was because Sean Tracy was the one who presented it and was before. Second question. All right, so it's been 24 to 26 months since Firesprite started working on this. Why is this the first we're hearing about it? And why have we still not heard about it from CIG? Hey, Jake, issue a damn press release.
Where's some? I mean, yeah, yeah. That one's honestly weird. I don't know.
I'm wondering if someone on the Firesprite side accidentally published it.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't. Okay, so I sort of would have expected it to be more coordinated, where Firesprites releases that, and at the same time,
he goes, "Hey, we're excited to work with Firesprite." It's just instead, it's just total radio silence.
Like a tweet saying, "Hey, look at this thing from Firesprites. We're excited to work with them. Yay!" Or like, or what I personally would have liked would be, "Yes, we're working with Firesprites, and here's an example of how we're working together. Here's some examples of the benefits that this brings, and you know."
I'm not sure what Jake's referencing there. Anyway.
Oh, it's because they're looking for a social media manager.
Oh, I see. I need to...
Nightbot, come on.
Why is your name so hard to type, Jake?
There's got to be a way to give Jake more power without making Jake a mod.
No. I don't think that's a good idea, David. You're gonna get him fired.
No, VIP. I just don't know how to give that.
Oh, I don't know. I'll play with it until I figure it out.
Yeah, I have no idea how to give. Anyway,
where is he? There he is.
Anyway. Hey, do you want to go work with Jake and CIG? You should do so. Go look at cloudimperiumgames.com/jobs. Get them social media manager so that they can put out tweets saying that they're, working with Firesprites, because that would have been cool to know.
It would have been cool to know.
Jake, just take on a second job.
Yeah, you can do another one of those jobs, right?
Yeah. Social media isn't hard to manage. Just put in a tweet.
Yeah, it's totally easy. That's why so many companies totally screw it up.
Oh, who was it?
Oh.
It was Burger King. Oh my God, Burger King.
Oh, what a huge
Oh my
fail that
God.
was. Oh God, that was awful. Oh,
Like,
just brutal.
wow. Like,
Just brutal.
yeah.
Oh my God, I hate Twitch settings. They're the worst anywhere ever in the universe. The worst thing ever. Oh,
Okay. Is there anything else to cover on Fire Sprites?
I mean, first of all, it is Fire Sprite. There is
Fire
not
Sprite.
multiple. Just they only have one sprite. Well, I would still like to know why we didn't hear about it in 2019. But other than that, you know.
Other than that, I got nothing. I want to see more on it. I'd like to see some updates on it. I'd like to see like some. I'd like to. You know what I want to see? I want to see a GIF or a series of GIFs of like someone shooting a railgun at a ship and it going boom. You know, I just want to see just a little tiny bit because. And I know it's CIG, and I know this has happened before, but they did say we were going to get it in, like, what, 2019?
What? Get what?
Theaters of War.
Oh, it was supposed to come in early 2020, and
Early
then
2020.
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
I mean, there was
maybe
a
the
there was a
pandemic
pandemic.
happened. But,
Yeah.
one of the things that makes me a little bit more optimistic about. Oh, good night, Tofu. So one of the things that makes me feel a bit better about Fire Sprite than Ilphonic did. Ilphonic had never made a good game, and they didn't have very many employees. Fire Sprite has an extremely long history. They've, under their current name, they have made 6 games, most of which have been varied from good to great, sort of in that range. A lot of VR stuff, a lot of PlayStation stuff. But they previously were Studio Liverpool of Sony, and then before that, they were Psygnosis. So they've actually been around since 1984. So
They're older than I am.
They've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And have a long history.
So, Calexis, do you think they need to focus on getting Star Marine right before moving on to Theaters of War? No.
It should be noted that it sounds like they are kind of working on Star Marine, but probably as a like they're working on Theaters of War, so a lot of the stuff is carrying over. Because Xylo posted this thing today that said the team's work on Star Marine, Arena Commander, and Theaters of War has already filtered back into and made an important and positive impact on the persistent universe, as combat improvements within Theaters of War are also improvements made for Star Citizen's PU.
I think Theaters of War is the most important thing for Star Citizen, period, right now. Star Citizen as a
Star
game
Citizen as a whole, including
Arena Commander, Star Marine, everything.
No, and Squadron 42, because if they can really iron out all the combat problems in Theaters of War, then there cannot be combat problems in Squadron.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the way things were before, you had Star Marine, which, sure, they could balance Star Marine against Star Marine. And then they could balance Arena Commander against Arena Commander. And then those two could maybe filter into balance Star Citizen, except for any time you had a person against a vehicle, that would be broken. And Star Marine doesn't actually include land vehicles, so how do you balance the land vehicles against flight vehicles in you can't do that in Arena Commander, and you
Yep.
absolutely cannot. We've seen them try. You cannot balance Star Citizen in Star Citizen. It doesn't work. It's too open form. The only way for CIG to get any form of balance is through Theaters of War and the metrics that Theaters of War can give. And the best thing about Theaters of War is they will be able, and Sean Tracy said this way back, is they will be able to shift things, right? They will be able to 1 week have it's arrows and hornets against each other. They can determine which of those ships are better against the other, and then they can swap out the arrow for an Avenger and the hornet for, like, they can change things around. They can change the vehicles on the maps. They can change the weapons that you're allowed to load out. They can change stuff. They can balance the whole game from Theaters of War. Nothing is more important to Star Citizen than Theaters of War. And that right there is honestly why I do have a tiny bit of reticence about Firesprite developing it, because it is so important. In my opinion, there is no room to get it wrong. And
Not much, no.
I love Battlefield. I've loved Battlefield games for years. And
I trust Sean Tracy to pay close enough attention.
So do I, but because of the importance, I won't know until I get my hands on it, right? Like, until I can play it, I don't know if it'll be right.
As you were saying before, Theaters of War is also going to I mean, actually, it should be pretty good when it's in a release state. I would expect an extremely prolonged, well, maybe not extremely prolonged, a long beta period before they actually make it. If they do, we don't even know for sure that they're going to release it as a standalone thing. It's just, it seems to make sense to both of us. And, But even if they do, I expect a fairly lengthy beta period where they're, iterating the crap out of it and trying to figure out what works best, and so on and so forth. One of the reasons and that includes the map, because one of the reasons that a game like Apex Legends worked so well was the map. The first map was just fantastic. You didn't need another map for like a year. Anyway, enough of my rambling.
No, and it makes sense. And honestly, I kind of hope that they can evolve Theaters of War into things like a battle royale mode, or like other modes as well. The possibilities are huge, and I really think that Theaters of War has a more accessible, it's a more accessible and more digestible intro to Star Citizen, because Star Citizen, especially right now, it's meaty. It's a lot to get into it. It's a lot to find the time to go from system to system. Like, there's a lot to Star Citizen. It's huge, and
it will always be huge.
It will always be huge. And I think that if you get Theaters of War and you get it done right, and it's good and it plays well, then you know what? And if you put it out free to play, you might have people that will only ever play Theaters of War, but you will also have a lot of people that play it and like it and buy stars. I think there's a lot of promise there. Anyway, we're a half hour in, and we're still talking about Theaters of War. So, I want to...
Jake, I know this is 100% your responsibility. You better hire that social media manager. And the first thing they do, they should put out a tweet about Firesprite cooperation. Anyway.
Yep.
There's another thing I want to touch on briefly here, just because it also is in the recent dev posts on Spectrum.
Okay.
Clive Johnson piped up, or replied to a question about server meshing. And he did confirm that basically the person was asking if server meshing was still in a research phase or if it was in a production phase. The first implementation of server meshing is definitely in a production phase. And basically they're in a research phase for everything beyond the first implementation. They have a lot of ideas about what they want to do, but it will obviously, those plans may not survive contact with the enemy, as you know,
Do we know
as the
what
saying goes.
Do we know what the first planned or the first hoped implementation includes?
Being able to go from one system to another and having your ship able to move between servers.
Okay.
In some fashion, as Clive Johnson says. He says, yes, the first version will include ships being able to move from one server to another, and then he puts ... in some capacity. I think that they're a little soft on exactly how the implementation will look, but it's in a production phase, so they're actively working on getting it implemented in the game.
That's good.
Server meshing is, of course, probably for Star Citizen, specifically Star Citizen, the persistent universe, probably the most important feature they have coming up. If it doesn't work, the game doesn't work.
Yep.
Straight up. That's it. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I
yeah.
would like to move us on to this week's Inside the Verse. Hey, Sargareth, how's it going? Let's go to show and tell. Woo! And media. Woo! So, you know, it's kind of fun that we spent a long time so far talking about Theaters of War, because, hey, look. Hedicus. Jeez.
Hey, thank you, Hedicus, for 42 months.
The big 42.
My shoulder doesn't do that anymore.
The big 42. Jesus. I really liked the you mentioned it at one point, but like the Inside Star Citizens for the last 6 months have been really, really good.
Really good. There's so much like, yeah, exciting stuff, but also just key stuff they've shown in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I was talking about it on our Discord there. I was saying, you know, like the rivers, the terrain deformation, the actually one I didn't mention there, but is also very notable, all the fire tech that they're doing, yeah. The fire propagation, and this one with the new asteroids and amazing array of utility handhelds.
This is something I've been waiting to see for a long time. It's really interesting. It's really well done. I have some questions though.
Okay, what are your questions?
Well, I want to start with my first question, which is is it the bearing door breach?
Okay, the charge, yeah.
Yeah, the door breach charge. So if you've ever played a Battlefield game, in most Battlefield games, like in Battlefield 4, the medic has like charging paddles that he charges up and, you know, shocks someone that's
you
been...
can kill people with them.
Well, you revive people with them, right? So someone's been shot 40 times, you shock them with paddles and they get up. But you can also kill the enemy with the paddles if you get close enough and shock them, and it's great. It's like one of those things that you always want to. You got to do it someday. And I think the other Battlefields have it as well, like the syringes that you. Anyway, I want to be able to take that bearing door breacher and sneak up to someone and put it on their back and have it expand and explode.
I mean,
I want that.
Given what they've... Honestly, I would be a little bit surprised if you couldn't do that. Simply because We have other behavior in the game. Like we have a lot of systematic behavior in the game, and that's kind of how they want the game to work, or at least that's how they've talked about it working. So you have things like people, defending themselves in their mining ship by like lasering the other ship and killing it. It should be the same with door breaching charges. You should be able to door breach somebody's backpack on their back.
Right? Anyway, I want that. That's all I wanted to say. That's my that's my big thing to start with. They showed off some really cool stuff. There's the multi-tool medical attachment.
Oh, so much cool stuff.
Yeah, this episode is literally just chock full of goodness.
They showed off the fact that, first of all, I don't know if I was aware of this before. Maybe the multi-tool was Grey Cat, but a bunch more Grey Cat industrial equipment, including a much more powerful tractor beam.
So that's I said I had a couple of questions. That's number 2 on my questions list.
All right.
To me, Grey Cat means little tiny buggy that drives around with horrible physics and crashes into things and rolls over.
I mean, they are called Grey Cat Industrial, though, so maybe they had more planned for them than
I know, but like
the little buggy.
It just the Grey Cat medical tool, like that sounds to me like, it's like the I want to think of something better, but the cat, like heavy machinery, like cat. They make it's like if they came out with like a medical kit. Like it just seems slightly strange, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, but you never know. I mean, you're gonna need a lot of those things on work sites, so.
Yeah, that's true. It just seemed interesting to have a medical attachment to it, but I guess it makes sense. It's the, like, you can swap out various things, so why not? But
it's not like they're the only medical device. There's also the ones by Cure Life, which
yes.
I love that
Much
Cure
better.
Life is
yes. Yeah, Cure Life, which is great. I will say I kind of wish the Cure Life had looked a little bit more like something from Star Trek. It looks a bit too phasery for me, but I like it. I was interested, like, in the episode, they were saying you can use it to like shoot healing goo, which I want to know how that healing goo gets through your armor. Whatever. I'm going to assume nanites or something.
It's got tiny nanites that burrow into your armor and then into your body.
Sure, nanites, fine, whatever. I still find it kind of funny. I found what else they were saying, though, really interesting, in that depending on the tool you have, like the Cure Life one, you'll be able to scan the person to see what other health problems they have, and then you should be able to adjust the medications that you're shooting them with to cure more things, right? I found that really interesting. I'm interested to see how that works, and what kind of like how the UI for that is going to work on like a little tiny gun.
All right, can I school you here for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Because I just schooled myself. Grey Cat Industrial makes a spacecraft, which is the Spider mining robot.
Yep.
They have 2 ground vehicles, which is the PTV and the Rock, as pointed out by Jake.
Yep.
They make a full set of personal equipment, so armor, helmets, and leg armor, under the name Bastion.
Okay.
They have the ones we saw this week, so the tractor beam and the cutting tool.
Yep.
And I think I understand this better now. The first aid solution is actually an attachment to the multi-tool.
Yes.
So that makes way more sense.
They showed off a bunch of different attachments. I just thought that the first aid attachment was a little funny.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they had like a candy shooting attachment. You make every attachment under the sun.
Yeah. Anyway, the other, like, again, they talked about a lot more attachments of, like, the salvage attachment. This one I had a question of. They were saying that while you're like salvaging a ship, it cuts stuff off, and the stuff that you're cutting away, the stuff that you're salvaging, gets stored in a little canister in the gun. And I'm just thinking, how big is the canister? Is it like a lip chap size? Like, what are you going to store in this tiny little handheld, right? How much are you storing in that canister? I gotta know.
That's amazing. I am not entirely certain, to be frank.
No, you're Eric.
But Darge, it's probably one of those things where it says Grey Cat on it, but it was made by Cure Life. Like, there's a million products in the real world like that. Like how there's only a couple TV panel manufacturers left, but there's like dozens of brands of TV.
I found talk about the large scale Grey Cat tractor beam interesting in that it can carry heavier stuff, it can move it faster. Anyway, I really liked the whole addition of basically everything they went through here. Is there's the Grey Cat multi-tool, which does simple small stuff, and then there's the Grey Cat like tools, which are each distinct for the one task, but they do that task a lot better. And I like that. It's I think that's actually a really good way to give everyone a little bit of functionality with the multi-tool, and you can just swap it out and do whatever you want. But if you know that you're out salvaging, you don't like you're gonna want the cutter, right? You're gonna want the heavy duty salvage cutter, you know? Yep. This is the bearing door charge. It disappeared. Anyway, that was the bearing door charge that we were talking about. I like that they're expanding the multi-tool is basically what I was saying. And also, at the same time they're expanding the multi-tool, they are making the dedicated tools. And so far we've got them from one manufacturer. I hope we actually see FPS cutting guns from like 2 or 3 manufacturers, right? So there's a variety, different specializations. Like maybe there's another one that has a portable backpack for the salvage, so you can carry a whole bunch more, but it doesn't cut as efficiently. Something, I like it. The door reach charge is cool. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say that I think they figured out a way to make cargo maneuvering gameplay fun, and they were just like, well, let's give them a gravity gun.
Yep.
Just give them the tractor beam, and they'll have fun whipping cargo all over the place. And you can even like pass it through the air to your buddy who also has a tractor beam, so you can just like whip your cargo cart.
I mean, if you go back like probably 5-ish years, 4 or 5 years, one of the things I was worried about ever since they showed that one mission of them going down and landing on the planet and picking up a box and putting the box in the cutlass, and the idea that you would have to manually put every single box in the cutlass I really didn't like that idea, right? Having to walk over, put it down, walk over, pick it up, walk over, holy boredom, right?
And the nice thing is that you probably will still have to do that, but it'll probably be with volatile cargo. So you'll have that like stress in the back of your head that the thing's gonna fucking explode, so you won't mind moving it very carefully.
Yeah, which is fine. If you only have to do it sometimes, great. If it was all the time, no thank you. So I'm really glad that they found sort of the medium ground between the click to pick all up, click to put it in cargo, and like picking it up manually. Anyway, love it.
Oh yes, we also have carts now, so that's also alleviated because of the ridiculous
Yes.
cart.
So then they showed off this beautiful, beautiful thing. The Ultiflex crossbow.
Yes. I want one of these.
Yep. Is
Looks
this
fun.
is this the crossbow that is the tie-along crossbow with that?
Yes.
It is this one, eh?
Yep.
I love it.
There are no other bows in the game. It's just this one.
I hope that is not true. They did.
I mean, at this point.
Yes.
At this point.
I really hope that they develop more. I would like an actual bow. Just because. Look,
Well, Ultiflex,
all the best games have bows.
This is the only thing that Ultiflex has made, so I could totally see them building out like a bunch of other things that Ultiflex makes, like a compound like bow, or maybe other stealth weapons.
Hand crossbow, single shot, like just a hand crossbow. Love
Excellent.
it. Yep. Yeah, I want to see more from Ultiflex. I like it. It's a little bit too carbon fiber for me, but
You'll live.
I'll live. Yeah.
Couple things. I really love it as a clip. I really love that they animated the freaking bolts so that when they come up, they extend. It's just, yeah, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. I
Agreed.
really, really want one of these, and we'll have one with my character in the game.
Hey, do you like questions? Do you like asking questions? Do you want to ask us some questions so that when we're done doing this, we've got stuff to talk about and we're not just sat here like, I like birds.
You like more than one type of bird? Wow.
Yes. I like tits.
I mean, who doesn't like tits?
They're
We're talking
cute.
about the bird here.
Yeah, they're cute.
They're cute.
Anyway, ask us some questions. Okay, moving on.
We're totally gonna get banned for that.
How? It's a bird.
Oh, man.
Like, chickadees are really cute.
Yep.
Who doesn't like chickadees? There are blue chickadees, blue and yellow chickadees. Why wouldn't you want a blue and yellow chickadee? They're cute. I don't.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you here, David.
I like tits. Okay.
Also, I do quite like that I am now David and you are now me.
Oh yeah, didn't
Quite
notice
good.
that. Oh well. Okay. They also showed off. Yes, I also actually really like blue-footed boobies, Sargareth. They're really cool. Love them. Asteroids. So the thing that struck me most here is if you look at the asteroids, and they're all really smooth, and then these look more like they've been weathered through, like they almost look more like Earth rock foundations that have been weathered through like years and years of water and wind passing. Like you've got the striations along them. I don't know. They look cool.
So you can see it clear. One of the things I thought was nice here. So first of all, I mean, actually, I shouldn't really say. I was gonna say that they're probably not very realistic, but I mean, how much do we really know at this point? We've visited like a couple asteroids as a species.
Well, and that's what's so interesting here. Like,
um,
CIG could make them look like anything.
however they want. Yeah.
Anything. We don't know. We have our assumptions about what asteroids look like, but like,
Can I share a fun fact? I'm not sure
Yeah.
everybody's aware of.
yeah, you can.
A lot of people know that OSIRIS-REx, the NASA spacecraft, sampled an asteroid, like last year, right? And it got a full sample, and it was great and everything. But one of the things that I don't think the general public really caught on to very much was they had a bit of a not disturbing but unexpected thing happen. They discovered that the asteroid is really not solid at all. They're like, when we hit it, we encountered no resistance whatsoever. The only reason that the spacecraft like bounced back off the surface was because it was programmed to do that. He's like, we probably could have flown right through it. um, and keep in mind, this thing is like hundreds of meters across. It's not tiny.
Well, and didn't
So they're now we know there's a lot of people referring to it as like a marshmallow texture.
well, and what was it? I guess 2 or 3 years ago that landed on the like. I don't remember if it was a comet or an asteroid because I get the two mixed up all the time.
Comets are the ones with giant tails.
Yeah, but
And are mostly ice.
it landed on it, but
Mhm.
it wasn't able to like grab a hold. Hayabusa, I think, possibly.
No,
Yeah.
the one you're talking about was Rosetta and its lander Philae.
Possibly.
That was
I
the
don't
one
know,
that went to the comet.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like the few things that we've landed on have been not at all what we've expected. There was the one that
Nope.
was like duck-headed, like it was like it had two balls that and a really thin.
That was well, it's kind of hard to describe because the comet kind of looked like that too. But if you're talking about New Horizons, the one that went to the edge of the solar system, that's
Yeah.
what it found.
Yeah, I think science has no idea what asteroids look like, so I think
we
CIG
keep going to
should make
these
them
things
cool.
and we're like, this isn't quite what we thought this was
Yeah.
gonna look like.
What I do like is in the video they specifically were talking about like the ability to hide in the nooks and crannies.
Yep.
There was that segment just there where they actually flew. I think it was actually flying between two asteroids, not through one. But I mean, I think they know that people want to fly through asteroids.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and one of the things I like about this is, first of all, this is one type of asteroid. You know, they can make other
Yes.
types. Secondly, this is they clearly are aiming for gameplay here. They're making these asteroids full of all these crevices and cracks and like hidey holes, and it's all gameplay stuff. It's like if you're really skilled, you can hide really well in the crevices of this asteroid, and it can give you an advantage in combat. And I really love that. I think that that's a great approach to take, and I can't wait to see some of the epic videos that are going to come out over the years of people ambushing from a crevice in an asteroid.
I mean, you have to gamify asteroids, right? Because in reality, asteroids are really, really far apart.
Yep.
Like, really far apart. So, yeah.
Apparently that's where the space worms live, according to Darch.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And I think I actually missed this one, but it looks like a site.
I'll have to wait for it to come up on the stream.
This is them, the Star Citizen Live weapon content team making sites.
Oh yeah. I didn't watch this one. They're the live development ones are generally my least favorite to watch. I watched some of them, but if you could design a perfect weapon site, what would it be?
Perfect
For
weapon site?
let's say an assault rifle.
I like weapon sights that have very, very thin edges. I don't like much to be obscured, and I don't like them to be very like deep either, because I find you tend to lose a lot if your sight picture is deep, because you lose any of that little bit of perception, which I hate losing that little bit of perception. Personally, I like to snipe with iron sights in video games. I hate things like reflex and reflex sights. I also really don't like 12 times magnification sight scopes as well. I find they're too big and bulky. I really like a 3 times, 5 times, very, very small sight picture sight that you can still see what's around you from it. I don't, for example, like this this reflex sight. I hate reflex sights. I find they actually slow me down and obscure most of what I want to see in a battle.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's kind of cool that he was able to design that and just drop it in and put it on a gun. I like that.
Oh, it's so awesome.
The tool
Watching these
sets,
guys work is cool.
yeah, the tool sets they've created are fantastic. So, well, we've reached 10 o'clock. We've reached basically the end of the videos.
Questions.
Well, we've only got one question. Yeah, see, of those two sights, I much prefer the round sight on the left. Just because it's got a larger picture, but it's also still too deep. Like, there's so much blocking there. I don't know. Don't like them. Yeah, let's go to questions. We've got one question. That one question is from Blue-Footed Booby. Do you like birds? And I'm going to
I do like
change.
birds.
I'm going to change this up a bit and say that yes, I do like birds, and I'm really excited to see birds in Star Citizen.
Why specifically birds?
Because I'm really excited to see what they can come up with. They're going to have to. They have to populate a lot of planets. We know that they're probably going to populate quite a few of them with the same animals, because they've been terraformed to support the same life. But there's still going to be a lot of unique planets. It's going to be interesting to see, one, how many that they decide that birds have evolved on, or some form of flying creature, but also what different creatures that can fly look like in different atmospheres and gravities. Right?
That makes sense.
I find one of the things I find really, really interesting is the idea that, you know what, there could actually be an entire ecosystem living at a certain level of Jupiter that just, they are completely airborne and they fly along and they live at like one level of Jupiter's atmosphere. Like, it's possible, right?
I don't know about Jupiter, but a gas giant certainly. Jupiter's a
Saturn.
pretty nasty. Jupiter's a pretty nasty place.
But like, there could be strata. Yeah, I really like the idea of there being just gas giants with birds
Levels where you can, yeah, that would be really cool.
I really love that idea, and I really, really hope we see it.
One of the things. Go ahead.
I feel like that's something that we've missed in a lot of science fiction games, is there's not really that exploration. Mass Effect had a little bit. You got a couple of different flora and fauna to look at, but there wasn't really much to do with them, right? No Man's Sky, yeah, except kill them. No Man's Sky had, in my opinion, a really big problem with that, of because they went completely procedurally generated on their flora and fauna, it just looked wrong at times. I can still remember seeing a giant like Tyrannosaurus Rex sized thing with little tiny butterfly wings flying along, and it broke any immersion I had. I'm really excited to see what Star Citizen come up with. I really like the space whales. I want to be able to go to planets and classify new creatures and see what there is, and I think that would be a lot more fun.
Agreed. There's a lot of interesting stuff to investigate or to explore, I should say, with design for flying creatures on other planets, because you have this thing where like wing size compared to body shape really and body mass is very heavily dependent on gravity and atmospheric density. So you could have not a T-Rex with butterfly wings, but larger bodied animals than you see on Earth, for example, that can fly.
Yes.
And I'm curious to see if they explore that at all. Like if you end up with something a bit bigger than, because most birds, their actual body is very light.
Well,
because it has to be.
But we know that even on Earth has supported larger, like pterodactyls. Some pterodactyls were like,
and their body weight was
size.
like 100. What was that?
They're human size.
Yeah, and their bodies were like 120 pounds roughly to 200 pounds, I think, is the largest. But their wings were like 30 to 40 feet wide.
Yes.
They were enormous. You could probably have a like human-sized thing on some of these planets and moons that can fly with pretty moderately like 6-foot wingspan.
I'm interested to see them explore that. Okay, apparently
here, fun space fact for you.
Yeah.
Humans can fly on Titan.
Sounds
if you can design a pressure suit that gives them enough freedom of motion. But if you had like a wingsuit on Titan, you could fly because the gravity's low and the atmospheric density is very high. So
I'm really, really excited for some of the NASA robots that are like the NASA rovers that are planned, that are just like flying robots that they drop onto atmospheres. Oh, yes.
Dragonfly is a quadcopter that is going to Titan.
Yes, exactly that. So excited for that. That's so cool. Okay.
Gonna be awesome.
David's thick butt asks, what do you want to see in Tony Z's upcoming video?
Quanta.
I want to see like more about like working Quanta.
I want to see that. I just want to see the system work. That's all. I want it to be as long as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Because the longer Tony Zervek talks, the happier I am.
I'd like to see even just a brief, but a snippet of like a fuller simulation with like we had the snippets of like a couple things that they added in. I'd like to see a snippet of a simulation with everything that CIG have going. All factories, all resources, all like just everything that there is imagined for Quanta currently running. I want to see that.
You know what I'd like to see? I don't know if this is even possible quite yet, but if it is, it would be amazing to watch. I would like to see them show you something in the quantum like viewer, like we saw before. So like, pirates have destroyed a whole bunch of shipping lanes and now there's a huge shortage. And then go into the game and have your character go to a vendor and be like, look, the price is crazy high. And then fast forward in the quantum view to everything has been restored and now the price is coming back down again, and like see it in the actual game. I think that'd be really cool.
I think would also be really interesting to see actually, and I mean, it would probably have to be fudged a bit at least, but video of someone like flying along and you watching them in the quanta view and then you seeing the event populate and then the event, them encountering the event, right?
That would be really cool.
Like
yeah.
tied together of the gameplay of it happening and the system showing it happening. I think that would be excellent. Darjapu asks, would you like to see other types of ammo for the crossbow, and if so, what kind? Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Couple things. Exploding ammo, of course, because that's just something that has to happen.
Yep. I really liked the Thief games. I really liked the ability to like shoot water arrows and put out torches and shoot cloud arrows and hide behind them. And
I don't know if they're going to go that direction, David.
no, I know they won't, but I think it would be really, I mean, let's keep in mind crafting is supposed to come to Star Citizen at some point, right? The ability to create your own different kinds of ammunition. That'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool.
It'd be pretty cool. I do like the idea of like a non-lethal arrow of some kind. So like maybe a stun or something like that. Also maybe a tracking one, so you can like shoot a ship with it, and then you can track the location, like very accurately track the location of that ship as it tries to fly away. I think that would be super handy. Even if you didn't want to use it for combat, just to like, you know, you're tracking this ship, you want to keep an eye on it, you can just blast it in the ass.
I'd like things for situational as well, like the tracking, like not really acid, but something like acid to destroy heavy armor, for example, right? Like shoot your target, you shoot your heavily armored opponent, and it eats away at their armor. EMP arrows, like there's any number of things they can come up with, and I want to see it all. Derpinator asks, how much power would you prefer the dedicated tractor beam gun to have, and why is it just enough to flip over a ground vehicle? Darge, you're thinking too small, man. I want the dedicated tractor beam to have enough power to grab on to a ship in flight and pull it to the... No. You pull it down.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, just like, oh, the guy's trying to buzz you with a gladius or something. You wham into the ground. So it really is a gravity gun at that point.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh.
Yeah.
What else do we got here?
Darge, who just wants to ride a space cow, damn it, asks, why won't you let me ride the space cow, CIG?
I mean, do you really need permission?
Well, you do. They need to program it so that you can... You know what, Darge? That's a really, really good point, actually. No Man's Sky, I keep going back to No Man's Sky today for some reason, recently added an update where a whole bunch of those procedural animals, this is a procedural fauna, my brain, you can tame them and ride them and have them as pets. So I want to know, when we get fauna in Star Citizen, can we tame some of them like horses and get them saddles and name them buttermelon and ride them around our ranch.
I'm gonna leave that one to Jake.
I want to have a space horse ranch where all I do is raise space horses and name them cute things and brush their hair and ride them.
And when someone pisses you off, you eat them with your reclaimer.
Yeah. No, the entire ranch is actually inside the reclaimer. It's big enough.
Good point. I actually thought the ranch should be inside the Endeavor's like farm module.
Oh yeah, it should be.
But yeah,
it should be.
That's amazing.
Oh
man, good times.
God, I'm tired.
Good times, sir. Are you tired?
I'm really tired.
So I should probably talk about some real space stuff, eh? Since there's definitely stuff to talk about.
There is. I think we've we've covered everything Star Citizen for this week, I believe. If anyone has any other questions, let us know.
Yes, please do. Let us know. I was kind of doing that as a waiting for more questions.
But yeah, what's real space is also. I mean, let's be honest. Real space is actually a bit more exciting than Star Citizen, because it's real.
So I'm gonna send.
And like,
how easily can you put a picture up on stream?
Very easily.
Where do you want me to send it to you?
In the Discord.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do this.
That is a Star Citizen thing. I'll also send you.
Oh, yes, it is. Give me just a moment. I'll switch over to this and find it. Close that. Grab this. Grab this.
So there was a rather horrifying bug this week that got a lot of play on Reddit. And made me a little scared to ever use an ASOP terminal again. Gotta admit.
It reminds me of there was a Doctor Who episode. I don't remember what it's called, but it's during the coronation of the current queen, back in whenever she was coronated, and I think it's the Network or something, or the Wire. Anyway, it's an alien that steals people's faces through the TV. And it like grabs their face and like sucks it into the TV, and then they've got no face, and this looks exactly like it.
It looks exactly like it.
Yeah.
Good job with the bug there, CIG. Terrifies me to my very core. Please don't suck me.
We've said for a long time that CIG has all of the makings of a great horror game.
It does. Apparently, they're going that direction.
Yep.
It's a little disturbing. All right, I got a couple more coming for you, David, that are actually relevant to space stuff.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So, big news this week was, I mean, there's lots of big news. I'm gonna give credit where it's due. SLS had its green run test on Thursday, and it went absolutely flawlessly. They ran the main engines for 8 minutes straight, which is simulating a flight, and they worked great. Now they're sending the core stage of the SLS to Kennedy Space Center, where they will stack it all together as a rocket. It needs to have its side boosters attached, needs to have a second stage attached, and also the Orion spacecraft attached.
Can I also say that for $11 billion, I could also probably build a rocket engine that can go boom for a couple seconds.
It was 8 minutes, David.
$11 billion.
However, a thing that you should really burn them on, one of the things that, you know, is still an issue is that the whole process of stacking the rocket is going to take them about a year. So yeah, it's looking like SLS probably won't launch until about this time next year.
And they get one launch.
They are actually, and they are actually getting, but they are actually making progress, which is nice to see for the first time in a long time.
It's just a waste of money. It's a huge, huge waste of money when there are rockets right now that can just about do everything they need the SLS to do for, I don't even know how to do the math, but like
Tiny fraction of
an 100th of the cost,
something like that.
like
But you'll probably notice that the image on screen is not SLS. That is a picture from today. This is Starship serial number 11. It was waggling its fins today. It is getting ready to fly. It should fly this coming week, but it does still need to be to have a successful static fire test, which we're expecting to happen probably on Monday. With a flight probably say Wednesday, assuming the weather holds up and assuming the static fire actually works properly. They are going to be attempting to land this again. They landed the last one, but it blew up about 8 minutes after landing because the landing was a little harder than they would like. They're hoping to land this one a little softer and recover it without it blowing up would be nice. Excited for that flight. Can you flip over to the other picture?
already done.
It's the more exciting picture. And the first super heavy booster has been stacked in the high bay of Boca Chica. It is rather large, as you probably can see.
Those are people on that crane.
Those are people on that crane. It's the super heavy booster is 70 meters tall, so it's about 20 meters taller than Starship is. They stacked the first one. This stage will not fly, but it's going to be what they call a production pathfinder. So they're basically learning how to build one, learning how to transport it. So they're going to transport it to the launch site. They're going to learn how to fuel it, and they might do a static fire or a couple static fires on it.
I hope they do one of those like explosion tests where they just push it till it explodes.
Just push it till it booms.
Yep.
Well, they will be pressure testing it. If the pressure testing fails, it might boom. Boom. And so far, the current plan is that the second super heavy booster will probably fly, which will be something ridiculous to watch. Just FYI. There's a bunch of other news. Actually, no. I'll talk specifically about one piece. The Perseverance rover on Mars is getting ready to fly the helicopter. They found a spot that they like, and they're getting ready to do all of the things they have to do to get to prepare for the helicopter to fly. They have to eject this like bottom panel off of the rover because it's currently like covering the helicopter up. And then they have to deploy the helicopter and then drive away from it and then let it fly. But it's probably going to happen within the next few weeks here to actually get a flight. And they will be recording a video of the flight with the zoom camera on the rover. So we're going to get video of a helicopter flying or attempting to fly on Mars.
I can't.
Oh, pretty awesome.
It's so incredibly cool. We missed like the era of space exploration of the moon. We missed the Apollo launches.
Unfortunately, it was
We
only
missed-
3 years long.
I know it was not very long at all, but we missed it.
Yep, I know.
But we are smack in the middle of, I would say, probably a bigger. Like this is bigger than the space race was. Like there's more happening
It
constantly.
It has the potential to be, for sure. Yeah.
Like we, even if it takes another 10 years, like a lot of us could see the first person walking on Mars. Robots in Jupiter. We might find life.
Even if
Like
even if it takes 20 years, which I really don't expect it to, but we'll still see it. And not only that, in that time, regardless of what you think of SLS, there's a very good chance that in the next few years here, probably say 6 years, we're going to have people on the moon again. However that comes about. By the way, there will be big news on that coming soon. We are expecting in the next 3 or 4 weeks that they'll announce the next round of contracts for the lunar lander, which, if you may recall, does have Starship as one of the options. So that would be something.
I mean, I think what we're going to see is SLS is going to have a launch. It's going to explode at launch. Everything is going to be terrible. The Senate is going to be blamed for the massive, horrible cock-up that it is. And all of the money that was going to continue going to the SLS is going to be moved over and given to NASA to do whatever they want with. And they're going to contract with... They're going to contract with SpaceX and Amazon and Electron Rocket. They are going to fully support the boom of the private space industry, and the private space industry is going to put a base on the moon and a base around the moon and a base on Mars, and then we're going to get to Jupiter, and then we might hit Pluto by, I'm going to say, 2032.
Pluto.
Yeah.
If you launch something now, it would barely make it to Pluto in time. For those who weren't paying attention at the time, New Horizons took 9 years to get to Pluto.
Yeah.
We're
gonna have bigger rockets. They go faster.
Okay. Regardless, it's a very exciting time in space flight. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. I pay attention to it constantly, and I still can't keep up. So yeah, check out our Discord in our space channel. Thank you, Darge, for helping me keep that channel up to date. Yeah, thank you for joining us on Relay Station. This was a lot of fun this episode.
It was quite good, and I just want to really sort of reiterate the message. Now that there's 30 people instead of 3, I do want to reiterate the message that I read out at the intro to this show, because it's been a rather shitty week. A lot of stuff happened in my own personal life that was kind of crappy, but none of that matters, because anti-Asian hate crime is anti-Asian hate crimes have risen 1,900% since the beginning of the pandemic.
Sum it up. It's not the fault of Asian people that there was a virus. They didn't do it, and it's not their fault.
And really, it all comes down to what I was saying at the very beginning of don't be a racist fuck. Just don't be a racist fuck. And that's...
And you're good.
Yeah. Okay, so VIP doesn't cover Jake. God, we gotta fix Nightbot.
He is VIP, though. What the heck?
Even with VIP, we gotta... Okay, we'll have to figure Nightbot out.
Nightbot needs to be
Yep.
adjusted.
Oh, we'll adjust him. Anyway, be
Thank
good
you,
to
Jake, for
everyone.
calling.
Everyone is having a tough time right now, but there are those of us that are having a much, much worse time. Think of them. Think of the people that are, working every day during this, that are at grocery stores, that are stacking the shelves, that are putting their lives literally on the line every single day they go into work. Think of the people that are around you, and be good to yourself. Be good to them. Stay safe. And come back Tuesday when we're going to talk about video games in general, and come back next week for more Star Citizen. Bye, all.